Have you ever wondered how you can feel so confident with grammar, yet so totally lost in a real conversation? Well, it all comes down to understanding that speaking isn't just one skill. It's actually two very different things. And today, we're going to break it all down. You know the feeling, right? You've studied for weeks, you can fill out any worksheet, you know the verb charts by heart, but then a native speaker asks you for directions and poof, your mind just goes completely blank. You freeze up. So what on earth is going on there? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple, and it really changes how you should think about practicing. See, we've been led to believe that speaking is this one big thing, but it's not. The ability to actually use a language is split into two different but related abilities. And this is where we really need to shift our thinking. It's time to stop focusing only on what you know, all those vocabulary lists and grammar rules, and start focusing on what you can actually do with the language. It's not about having the knowledge, it's about performance. And here they are, our two key skills, productive ability and interactive ability. The easiest way to think about it is this. Productive ability is what you can create all by yourself, kind of like giving a speech. Interactive ability, on the other hand, is what you build together with someone else in the back and forth of a conversation. Let's dive into the productive side first. All right, so first up is productivity ability. A really great way to think about this is to imagine it as a monologue. It's just you delivering a message. It's basically a one-way street. So what do we really mean by productive? Well, it's your power to generate language from scratch, to build your own sentences, paragraphs, or even entire speeches that are accurate and make sense for the situation you're in. It's all about your own output. And this is what goes into a really good monologue. Of course, you need your grammar to be accurate and you need a good range of vocabulary. But it's more than that. Your ideas have to be coherent. They need to flow and connect logically. And, super important, you have to adjust what you're saying for your audience. We see this productive ability show up in two main ways. When you're speaking, we're talking about things like your fluency and how clear your pronunciation is. And when you're writing, it's all about having a strong organization and actually getting the job done, like properly answering the question in an essay. Okay, let's flip over to the other side of the coin. If production is the monologue, then interaction, well, that's the dialogue. This is a two-way street, and believe me, it is a completely different ballgame. Interactive ability is a whole different beast. It's not just about pushing your own message out there. It's about building a conversation together with someone else. It means you have to listen, you have to react, and you have to manage that unpredictable dance of a real discussion. And this right here is exactly why interaction feels so much harder for so many of us. It happens in real time, which means there's no time to sit and plan your perfect sentence. It's totally unpredictable. You have no idea what the other person is going to say next. You're constantly influencing each other, and you even have to be ready to fix misunderstandings on the fly. So the skills you need here are completely different. It's not just about grammar anymore. It's about social things, like knowing when it's your turn to talk, figuring out how to keep the topic going, asking someone to clarify what they mean, and using politeness to keep everything running smoothly. This table just pulls it all together perfectly. Look at the key differences. Productive skills are focused on your own planned output, like that essay or presentation. But interactive skills, that's all about the spontaneous, shared creation of meaning, like you'd see in an interview. And that distinction is exactly why they have to be tested differently. So why does all of this theory matter to you? Well, because it totally changes how we should think about language tests and what they're really trying to measure. This is the million-dollar question for any language learner, isn't it? How do those big standardized tests actually figure out where you stand on these two very different abilities? Okay, let's start with the productive side, your monologue skill. Well, tests measure this by giving you tasks that give you a little bit of breathing room. They give you time to think, to plan, and to carefully put your response together. Just think about it. Writing an essay, preparing a little presentation, or even just describing a picture in a lot of detail, all of these tasks are designed to test your ability to organize language all on your own. They're the classic ways to measure your productive skill. But what about your dialogue skills? How can they possibly test that? They can't just hand you a worksheet. No. To measure your interactive ability, they have to simulate the pressure and the spontaneity of a real live conversation. And this is where you see tasks like a one-on-one interview with an examiner, a discussion with another test taker, or even a role play where you have to pretend you're in a specific situation. These are all designed to test your ability to think on your feet, to respond, and to adapt. And that's the very heart of interactive skill. And this quote right here, it gets to the absolute core of modern language testing. A test can't read your mind to see how big your vocabulary list is. It can only judge you based on your observable behavior, on what you actually do with the language when you're put on the spot. Your performance is the only proof that matters. So, here's the most important takeaway. A good, fair, comprehensive language test can't just ask you to write essays. It also has to see how you handle a real, spontaneous conversation. It has to measure both your productive and your interactive skills to get a true, complete picture of what you can really do. And that brings us to the final thought for today. What about you? Take a second and think about your own language skills. Are you more comfortable preparing a presentation by yourself, or are you better at jumping into a spontaneous chat? Knowing where you're strong and where you need to practice is the first real step to becoming a truly well-rounded speaker.